You know, if you have an abundance of something, you should share it. And being young, it didn't click with me then. But as I became an adult, then I realized what she was doing. I'm like, gosh, she was a giver. And she was sharing what she had an abundance of, you know, with her community. And, you know, amazingly enough, at her funeral service, there was one lady that got up and she talked about that. And I'm telling you, I just bawled. I was like, oh my God. But that was so impactful for me, you know. And then with my mom was, not only did she teach school, but she was very active in her community. And, you know, one of the things that I got from that, you know, she's going to this school board meeting and that meeting. And what I got from that is, you know, you need to be involved if you want to see something better. You don't sit back and let others, you join in and do what you can.
Well, it is a pleasure. We're meeting for the first time, but Monica, Kim, everyone speaks so highly of you.
Aww.
Yonilda Varner, how are you?
I am great and so honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Have you lived in Austin all your life, or where was home originally?
No, you know, I transferred to Austin back in 2003 from Anaheim Hills, Orange County, LA area. That's my stomping ground. And been here ever since. I came because my mom at the time was in Louisiana. That's my home state. That's where I was born.
Got it.
And she, unfortunately, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. I'm one of 4 girls. And at the time, I was the only one that was, first of all, I wasn't married, no kids. And I was with a company that I could transfer to get closer to her. And Tommy, the way only the Lord could orchestrate it, you know, I was trying to get into either, for sure, Louisiana, no openings. Then what about Dallas or Houston? Because I was familiar with those cities. Nothing.
Okay.
And then at the time, my director said, hey, but I can transfer you to Austin. Had no clue, had never been here before in my life.
We always knew in geography class, the capital of Texas. That's all I know.
So that's all I knew. And I was a little hesitant, but, you know, keeping the big picture, my mom, right? Okay, I'll do it for her.
Got it.
I did a survey trip here, got lost on the double-decker freeway. I'm like, now, if I could live in LA and Orange County. Really? Right? But it's interesting now that I look back on how I got here. I see God's hand all over it. All over it.
Talk a little bit more about that. What is there specific moments or specific times that you look back and say, wow, you've always been there throughout this entire time, besides job and all that?
You know what? There is. With AT&T, I retired 25 years, Associate Director of Training. I had a team of instructors. To this day, they're like my extended family.
Wonderful.
And I look back on that, and you know, what I learned along my journey is that it's not about a lot of words that you use when you're trying to teach people about Jesus, but it's your life, it's your behavior, it's your demeanor, it's how you interact. And when I think back on my group of instructors, I feel so humbled and honored because now, you know, they talk to me about, you know, I watched you, and sometimes they'd knock on my door and I would have my Bible in my office and they're like, now I get it. And that is such a warm feeling for me to know that in some small way, I was able to touch some lives, you know? So I'm very, very thankful, and to God be the glory, because it was true. I had no idea what I was doing at the time, right? I'm just being who I am. But they were watching.
Yeah, yeah.
They were watching.
If somebody was sitting there watching this particular part of the conversation, they would be sitting there, Yonilda, if you're their boss, how am I can't be their friend, but I want to care for them, but I also got to manage them and say not harsh things, but things they may not like. How do you find that balance?
You know, I think it boils down to just servant leadership. I really do, because even though I was responsible for this team, but they also knew that I not only cared about their performance at work, but I cared about them outside of work. So always, you know, asking about their kids or their husband or their wife or how they're doing, and just being human with them.
Yeah.
So I think that was the big difference for me.
Yeah. And being human with them is you don't just gloss over the areas of weakness. You sit there and you talk with them. Hey, we got to see improvement on this. Here are some expectations you got to work on. But how's your daughter doing? How's your son doing? Hey, what's going on this weekend? How can we talk and hear about some of those things? Yeah.
Absolutely. And then also to let them hear some of my story. So they know that, you know, everything hasn't been perfect along the way. I've made mistakes. I stumbled. I fell. I got back up. But this is how I did it.
Yeah.
So I think just by letting them see my human side, letting them know that I truly cared about them, the person, and not just the instructor.
Yeah.
I think that spoke volumes.
You and I are meeting for the first time, but my first impressions of you, you're confident. I wouldn't want to mess with you if you were my boss, but you're very genuine. You're very quiet, but you hold a loud voice in terms of you have presence in a room. How did you become like that? Is there someone who influenced you in that sense and taught you what it meant to lead?
You know, I have to say my mom. My mom taught school for 35 years, seventh grade.
Yeah.
And,
my wife is a first grade teacher.
Oh, okay.
For about 21 years. Yeah.
Wow. So she, very soft-spoken, but when she spoke, you knew that, you know, okay, she was serious about what she was saying. Kind of a no-nonsense type lady, but so loving.
Yeah.
She, you know, my sisters and I often say she laced everything in grace. Even the constructive criticism or the discipline, right? Everything laced in grace. So she has truly been my role model. And, you know, even though she's been deceased now for a very long time, but we often say she's still running things from glory.
Yeah. Wow. And so you were in training, working for AT&T for a number of years. Did you feel like even as you continue to manage and oversaw some of the training and development, how did it change over time? In terms of, because I'm 47 years old, I'm used to baby boomer bosses who would just scream at me all the time. And I built cell towers for 10 years.
Okay.
How did that change in terms of how you train and develop, and how did you see that developing over time?
You know, I saw the most changed I saw was the turnover in some of the departments, whether it was promoting out, leaving, because of whatever reason, right? With my team, I didn't have a lot of turnover. I did have some promotions. I had some relocations. I think the change, of course, was difficult. You know, we had change in policy and process and procedure. So I think with anything, anytime, you know, you get used to doing things, a certain way, and then all of a sudden you have to pivot very quickly. It doesn't feel good, right? So for me, I felt that I was responsible for making sure I could lead my team through the change. You know, not by being dishonest, telling them I'm struggling too. But this is how we can get there. This is how we can get through it. You know, make sure I had an open door policy so that they felt comfortable enough to just come in and, you know, express their, what they did not like about the change, but it happens so frequently.
Did you feel like you had to change your approach to training as well too? How you train employees? Did that change over time?
It did, because we started getting, the demographic, our audience in our classes became a little different, So now we're getting much younger people. Attention spans are a little bit different.
Yes, yeah. I see it. My daughter now, they're watching YouTube clips that are about 3-4 minutes long versus I grew up on cartoons that was 30 minutes long. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So that we had to pivot a little bit, because, we're used to facilitating, usually standing, walking the room, that type of thing, and now you have these younger people, So we had to really have a paradigm shift, and come up with a better way to keep their attention, so that they're not multitasking and fiddling with their phones and all of that.
And don't you, like all of our surveys from all of our Resource Global events, I am so used to sitting there after lecture, after lecture, after lecture. All the survey says, no, we want interaction with everyone in the room. I said, this is so different. I'm so used to lectures. And then some of our speakers who are older don't understand this. They said, well, you want me to fly over there just to speak 15 minutes? Yes, and Q&A the rest of the time. Really? Because they're not responding.
Yeah, and we had to incorporate various games, learning, but in a game form. So a lot of redesign of certain lessons to make it more interactive, because they did not do well with just lecture.
As a person who oversaw, how did you learn how to pivot? When was it time to pivot? Was it through surveys that you got? Is it just talking with people? If a person or organization say, this is how we're trained, when is it time to pivot where you're not doing the same thing way too long?
I think it was a combination of both, Tommy, from talking to the students, right? So our classes, we were responsible for every new AT&T employee. They had to go through our training class first.
Really? Yeah.
So we talked to them, just gauging, their interests and what their preferred method of learning. We did do some surveys, and then it was a matter of bubbling that up, saying, okay, these are the comments, the results, the data shows that we need to implement more videos, more games, to really draw the point home. And actually, we also did a lot of role playing, to make it, because you have a class of, let's say, 20 adults, and much younger than what we're used to. So we needed to get them up and get them, So that really turned out to be a very effective learning tool.
Yeah.
It really did.
Wow. How did you pivot to what you're doing now with Sherwin and Kim Penn?
So in 2023, I was already in my 25th, ending my 25th year. So AT&T had gone through several versions of a layoff.
Yeah.
Well, I got caught up in this last one. And that change we talked about didn't feel good, right?
Yeah.
But then, I concluded in talking with my husband, I'm like, God either ordered it or allowed it, one or the other, right? So now what's the next stage in my journey? And I enjoy working with people. I enjoy transferring learning. And in talking with Kim, she was telling me more about what Life Anew does. And they have a lot of different branches. And in speaking with her, I'm like, I think I would enjoy doing that. And this is not, a Fortune 500 corporation, so I can actually see the results. I can see what my little 2 cents is doing quicker, right? So that's when she's like, well, okay. She said, she told me what they had coming up. They had a client that she would need someone to not only schedule sessions, but to facilitate.
Oh, good.
I'm like, okay, well, I think I could do that for sure.
Yeah.
So I started with them, and I'm telling you, eye-opening, from corporate America to a nonprofit. It's different.
Yeah,
it's different.
very, very different. Yeah.
But I have to say, it's been so rewarding.
Yeah. If you look at elements, because there's always a reason why you're there, how do you see elements of what you did at AT&T transfer to what you're doing now?
Oh, my goodness. Well, first of all, just, at AT&T, I was leading more, right? I had a team that was actually doing what I am doing now at Life Anew. I think there are a variety of transferable skills, that you take from one place to the other. And I just said in a class I did last week, what we have been facilitating with Life Anew, these are not just skills that you use in a work or business setting, but these are personal skills that, you can take outside of an office building that will really impact your home life. So it's been very rewarding. It really has. And I look back and I'm like, Lord, only you. Only you can do this.
I tell people all the time is when I first started, it's great. I'm leading Resource Global right now. But when I graduated from business school, I worked for a company called American Tower. And we had just acquired 200 towers from Verizon Wireless.
Wow.
And all the random files all got dumped into a room. And they said, Tommy, your first job, go organize that room. And I'm sitting there, I'm a college graduate. Intern to do it. But I'm sitting there, Lord, you've placed me here. What can I learn to steward wherever can I be faithful to where you've placed me? I did not realize those 9 months organizing files in a room will force me to have the discipline to stay organized for the rest of my life. To spot details, to put things in a spreadsheet, to create a system in my head. And it really taught me the earlier I am organized, it will help me out for everyone, myself and the team, to always be efficient in what I do.
Absolutely.
And God used that to force me to have the discipline to do that.
Absolutely. My mom used to tell us all the time, don't disregard the person that's mopping the floor, the person that's cleaning the windows. You are kind and nice to everyone. Because everyone brings value regardless of your role.
Yes. And you learn to honor people. Well, not just your boss, but the front desk person, the person in the washroom wiping everything down. You treat them with the same dignity and respect. And you treat them like you would treat your boss because you never know also who's watching you.
That's true.
You never know who's watching you.
You never know.
Yeah. Wow. So for you, a lot of times you look back and going back to when you were a little girl, was there one memory or a couple memories, good or bad, that's still seared in your mind today that influence who you are today?
Probably one, not with my mom, but with my grandmother. As a little girl, well, that's not true. Two. With my grandmother as a little girl, I used to see her. They lived on a farm in Louisiana, and I used to see her taking eggs to the neighbors. And, being little, naive, I'm like, why are you taking these eggs to, why not keep them for us, right? But she taught me the gift of just sharing. If you have an abundance of something, you should share it. And being young, it didn't click with me then. But as I became an adult, Then I realized what she was doing. I'm like, gosh, she was a giver.
Yeah.
And she was sharing what she had an abundance of, with her community.
Yeah.
And, amazingly enough, at her funeral service, there was one lady that got up and she talked about that.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I just bawled. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But that was so impactful for me, And then with my mom was, not only did she teach school, but she was very active in her community.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that I got from that, she's going to this school board meeting and that meeting. And what I got from that is, you need to be involved if you want to see something better. You don't sit back and let others, you join in and do what you can.
Yeah.
So those were two things that were very impactful for me that I still to this day remember.
Right. I think back to my parents. My parents immigrated to the U.S. in 1972. We had no money. I still have memories that we were eating a lot of times lettuce, ramen, and hot dogs.
Wow.
And my mom would tell us all the time that she loved the food. When you realize afterwards, we had no money. And then when we got straight A on the report card, then she would go out and take us to a restaurant. But she will order, and we used to love dumplings, and she will order everything and she allowed us to eat it. And I remember saying to my mom and dad, hey, do you want some? No, we're not hungry. When you realize they didn't have money to do all these things. I look back and that was the thing that taught me what it meant to die for other people and serve others well. To this day, it influenced me. How do I serve others well at my expense?
Wow.
Yeah. For you, a lot of times as you continue to lead, what is your hope? Here we are talking with young leaders or female leaders. What is your word of advice to female leaders? Because you really achieved, you did well in your job. Any advice that you would give them?
Well, yeah, a few things. First of all, servant leadership. It's crucial. And it's just nice to be nice. Treat everyone with respect. And really, really, at a young age, I can't say that I totally understood my relationship with the Lord at a young age, right? But my mom, we are always in church, but it wasn't until I was in my late 20s that I really established that relationship. So for our young people that are a part of Resource Global, I think they're so far advanced, right, than where I was, because they've already established that relationship, So my advice to them would be to continue to seek His guidance in everything, from the smallest thing to the largest, everything, and let Him truly lead your life.
Yeah. And also for you, what's your secret to being confident as a leader but secure in who you are? What would you say? What's your advice to do that?
Confident as a leader.
Insecure.
Well, I have to give God all the glory for that. I don't think there's a secret sauce.
Yeah.
I think that for each individual, you decide, the type of person that you want to be.
Yeah.
Do you want to be that kind person? Or do you want to be the not kind person, But I think when you have a relationship with the Lord, you are doing your best to please Him.
Yeah.
And I think, just being kind and nice to everyone speaks volumes.
Yeah. I look at Jesus, what He did with the Samaritan women who have 5 husbands and one guy who's living with her, but didn't want to be her husband. Then you have Zacchaeus, who everyone's ridiculing him. And he comes over to him and says, I want to stay at your house. I want to come over to your house for dinner. How he ministered to every single person is just amazing.
It is. It really is. And as you read some of the stories in the Bible, to me, it's like, Lord, it just baffles me, right? And it's like when you read about everything that he did, how he did it, it's like, wow, that's some encouragement.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Is Austin home for you these days, or do you still see Orange County as home?
I see Austin as home now. But now I go back as often as I can.
Yeah.
But I do see Austin as home. I'm married now. Again, nothing but the good Lord. I didn't know that was going to happen here. But Austin is home.
Very good. Thank you for finding some time to talk.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you. I feel so honored that I was even asked.
Yeah. Thank you.